Hello friends, welcome to English with Ridgely. Dulce decorumist. Wilfred Owen is one of the most famous war poets. He was born in 1983 and died in 1918, just 1 week before from the end of the World War I. His poetry is characterized by powerful descriptions of the conditions faced by soldiers in the trenches. The opening of the poem suggests Owen's pities the state to which the soldiers have fallen. Instead of youthful, strong fighters, they are bent double, knock-kneed, coughing like hags. Owen's imagery presents the man as prematurely old and weakened. War has broken these men, and they are described in the most unglamorous, inglorious manner. He sees war as brutal and wasteful of young life. The title is ironic. The intention was not so much to induce pity as to shock, especially civilians at home who believe war was noble and glorious. It comprises 4 unequal stanzas, the first 2 in sonnet form, the last 2 looser in structure. Stanza 1. Set the scene. The soldiers are limping back from the front, an appalling picture expressed through smile and metaphor. Such is the men's rich conditions that they can be compared all beggars, hags, that means ugly old women. Yet they were young, barely awake from lack of sleep, their one smart uniform resembling sags. They cannot walk straight as their blood-caked feet try to negate the mud. Physically and mentally they are crushed. Coughing find an echo later in the poem, while gas shells dropping softly suggest a man as stealthy and devilish. Stanza 2. The action focuses on the man who couldn't get his gas helmet on in time. Stanza 3. The aftermath. From straight description on back from a new perspective in the light of the recurring nightmare. Those haunting flares in stanza 1 foreshadowed a more terrible haunting in which a friend dying clutches at me before my helpless sight, an image Owen will not forget. Stanza 4. Owen attacks those people at home who uphold the war's continuance, unaware of its reality. If only they might experience Owen's own smoothing dreams, which replicate in small measure the victim's suffering. Owen goes on to describe in sickening details. The title and final sentence, part of the Latin quotation at end of the poem, Dulce decorumist pro patrio mori. His own translation of the quotation, it is sweet and meet to die for one's country. Others have translated the third word decorum as glorious, noble, or fitted instead of meet. Meter. The meter pattern of the poem is iambic pentameter, which consists of 5 pairs of syllables. The first syllable of each pair is unstressed, the second stressed. The first 2 lines of the poem demonstrate the pattern. The first line rhymes with the third, the second with the fourth, the third with the sixth, and so on. Structure. The first stanza set the scene, a battlefield with weary soldiers on the march. The second stanza centered on the center image of the poem, a gas attack in which one soldiers failing to put on his gas mask in time, dies in agony before the speaker of the poem. The remaining lines present the theme. Setting. The scenes described in the poem took place during World War I on the battlefield in France. Themes. The theme of the poem is straightforward and unambiguous. War is hell on earth and there is nothing glorious about it. In presenting the theme, Owen was also presenting the warning, as he makes clear in the preference on his collection of poems. This book is not about heroes. English poetry is not yet fit to speak of them, nor is it about deed or lands, nor anything about glory, honor, might, majesty, dominion, or power. Expect war. Figure of speech. Following are examples of figure of speech in the poem. Alliteration. Men marched asleep, many had lost their boots, but limped on bloodshot. Some smoothing, knock-kneed, watching white eyes from the froth, come gargling from the fourth crumpled lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as cut. Hyperbole. Men marched asleep. Simile. Line 1. Bent double like old beggars under sack is a simile which compares the men marching to beggars, starting the poem off with an image of men. Doubled creates the possibility that the soldiers really have become two people, the men they were before the war and the creatures that they are now. Line 2. More smiles. This time the men are knock-kneed, coughing like hags. Metaphor. Comparison of the gas victim to a victim of drowning. Onomatopoeia. The poem is so deep entrenched in the World War that its language cannot help but recreate the language and the piece of battlefield. The repetition of hard consonant sound like the hard K in sax, knock, coughing, and cursed make our tongue perform some shape attack on the air in our mouth. Imagery and symbols. Men marched asleep. Line 5 start with our stock imagery. People don't usually walk in the sleep unless something is seriously wrong. Making abnormality the norm seems to be one of the major functions of this war. Line 6. The parallel constructions of the line all went lamp, all blind emphasizes misery as the universal condition. No one escapes, no one. Line 15. The speaker's reference to his helpless sight creates an almost paradoxical image. His sight works well. After all, he can see the image of the man dying. In fact, it's our speaker's all too active sight which became the problem. What Owen is actually describing, however, is the helplessness of the speaker himself. Thanks for watching.